Welcome to Long COVID Radical Self-Care, where I provide simple, non-medical tips and tools to help you on your healing journey. Today I want to talk about what could be a life-changing conversation for you and offer some tips for starting that conversation. Most of us don't pay much attention to our body until it starts to malfunction. You don't think about your throat unless it's sore. You don't give a thought to your heart until you get chest pain or it starts to beat erratically. You don't pay much attention to your eyes unless there's a problem with your vision or some other sign of a problem. In other words, you don't listen to your body until it gives you a signal something's wrong. That's your body talking to you. But most of us don't listen well, and we certainly don't have a conversation with our body. And yet, a two-way conversation may bring about some of the most powerful healing you can experience: physical, mental, and emotional healing. When I got a headache, I used to have a three-tiered strategy. First, I would ignore it, hoping it would just go away. If it kept bothering me, I moved up to tier 2, take a painkiller. If it still persisted, or I got a lot of them, then I'd escalate to tier 3. Call the doctor and see if she could tell me what's wrong. Do you know what was missing from that strategy? I never went to the source. I never tried to go within to really contemplate what was causing the problem. How often do we do that with our bodies? First ignore their messages, then try to block the symptoms with over-the-counter meds instead of looking for the root cause. And if that fails, consult a professional to have them tell us what's happening inside our body before we've really checked in ourselves. Have you ever had a doctor tell you something is caused by stress without having ever really considered that possibility on your own? When they ask if you're under a lot of stress, you say, "Yes, how did you know?" Because your body is telegraphing that. Your body is trying to talk to you, and you go to someone else to find out what it's saying before asking yourself. I'm not saying a doctor shouldn't be consulted. They're a critical part of the care team. But I think the first step is to go within and do some troubleshooting of your own. Yes, I'm suggesting you actually have a conversation with your body when it's trying to tell you something. If you've never talked to your body before or don't consider yourself very intuitive, this may sound pretty strange, but it can be life-changing. Give it a try. The body-mind connection is well documented in scientific literature. I believe that our bodies are always working to take care of us, both emotionally and physically, and injury and illness is often our body's way of serving a need we have. An ulcer or Crohn's disease might be our body's way of telling us to reduce the stress in our lives. A heart attack may be telling us there's a deep emotional wound, a broken heart that needs our attention. When we don't listen, our body's call will get louder. When our body gets sleepy, it's telling us to slow down and rest, not to have another coffee or energy drink. If we don't listen to the call for rest, our body will eventually put out other signals that are harder to ignore. For example, if you keep ignoring the need for rest, you may catch a flu that puts you in bed for a few days. If you continue to push through and overwork, you might trip over something and break an arm, which takes you out of work for a while. In spiritual circles, we often say that Source taps us on the shoulder to get our attention, but will eventually hit us with a cosmic 2x4 if we don't listen. That's the nasty blow we want to avoid. Listening to that still small voice within takes practice, but it's worth the effort. When we discover the role the pain, injury, or illness is serving, we may be able to find another way to get that need met so it no longer needs to be there. Reduce stress and eat better and the Crohn's disease will improve. But I've found that there's more to it than physical cause and effect. Your body may be reflecting not only physical needs, but emotional needs and wounds as well. The body, mind, and spirit are all connected. The first time this became really clear to me was when I met a woman who had struggled with her weight since she was a little girl. As she grew into a woman, she tried plenty of diets, but nothing she did helped her lose the weight and keep it off. One day she told me she'd been molested as a young child and had decided at that time that if she was fat, no man would ever want to do that to her again. Even as a mature married woman, her body had kept that programming, trying to keep her safe. That is until she made the conscious connection between the assault and her weight and let her body know it was okay to let the extra weight go now, that she no longer needed that extra ring of protection. Then the weight dropped off naturally and it stayed off. Now, I'm not suggesting everyone who carries extra weight was molested. That was her body's response. We all have different protective mechanisms for different wounds or perceived dangers. Things like addiction, rage, or insomnia can also be protective mechanisms. If you suffer from insomnia, have you ever looked at it in terms of feeling safe? I think people sometimes have sleep problems because their body is trying to keep them awake in case something dangerous happens and they need to be alert. When they get to the root of the fear and address it, and assure themselves that it's safe to go into a deep sleep, they may return to a healthy sleep pattern. In some cases, especially if there's trauma involved, they may need a professional to help address the trauma. That's a good thing. I'll offer more examples of physical conditions and their links to mental emotional patterns next week that may help you. But what I'm really trying to say today is that life-changing healing, physical, mental, and emotional, can happen with some personal contemplation and inquiry. When I was a young child, I used to get terrible aches in my legs. The doctor said they were growing pains, but if that was the case, I should have been more than 6 feet tall. Anyway, they would often strike in the middle of the night, and I would call for my mom. She would run a warm bubble bath for me and sit on the side of the tub while I soaked and talk to me until my legs felt better. Many years later, I recalled those times and realized that those leg pains brought me quality time with my mom. With 5 children in a busy home, there wasn't a lot of one-on-one time with her. But when any of us were sick or in pain, she gave us lots of extra love and attention. My body was doing what it could, giving me leg pain, to fill my need for love and nurturing. I later realized I can give myself the love and nurturing I need, and I don't need to have pain in order to take care of myself. Now, I want to clarify here that I'm not suggesting that my leg pain wasn't real. It was legit, and our long COVID is legit too. I don't want to in any way invalidate illness. I simply want to offer another way to look at it with the intention of healing holistically, body, mind, and spirit, because I believe they're all connected. When I look back at my time with fibromyalgia, I think part of it was my body's way of giving me an excuse to not have to live up to the high standards I had of myself professionally. It made me learn to give myself a break, to reduce the type A perfectionist tendencies. I'm a solid B+ or A- now. When I learned that I could ease my high expectations and work less without being sick, the fibromyalgia's work was done and it could leave. I told my body I didn't need fibro anymore to live a more balanced life, and I got better. Do you know anyone with a stressful job who's had a heart attack or other major illness that took them away from work for a while? Maybe it's the body's way of taking care of them, taking them out of a stressful situation to reevaluate their lives, their priorities. Have you ever gotten sick just before a speech or presentation you were terrified to give, or a job interview, or another event you were dreading? Maybe it was your body's way of letting you off the hook to eliminate that stressor. The cues and the reasons are different for everyone. You'll only know once you go within and have that conversation. If this is an area that interests or intrigues you, I would encourage you to take some time to get quiet and relaxed and begin to talk to your body. Focus on a part of your body that isn't functioning optimally and have a conversation. The brilliant author and psychotherapist Dr. Gabor Mate uses a term I love, compassionate inquiry. He says that we too often ask people, "What's wrong with you?" when we should be asking, "What happened to you?" Because trauma, large or small, is often the cause when people are dealing with ADHD or mental illness or addiction. I think the same is true with physical illness. There's something deeper at play. So talk to that part of your body that's asking for attention. Inquire about its role in your life and why it's malfunctioning. Ask what happened and what you can do to help. Let it know it's okay to return to perfect health and function. Ask questions, listen, negotiate. Treat your body with the gentle compassion you would a small child. If you don't get a response at first, that's okay. The answer may pop into your consciousness later when you're busy doing something else, when you're in the shower the next morning, or just waking up. Don't give up. Stick with it. Compassionate inquiry is one of the keys to healing. Drop me a note in the comments below and let me know if this gives you any insights into your own life. If you know someone else who'd benefit from hearing this, please share it. And don't forget to click the like button and subscribe. It's free and it'll help me get this message out. Thank you. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.